Hello, I'm back with a very short, very easy tutorial for y'all. We're going to make some large faux stamps. Now today I'm using my own pack here. This is my Shroomy pack. I'm just using this because I love him, and I already have some fake stamps in this pack, but I'm going to be using the square images. Don't worry, I'm going to be showing you how to make a stamp without any images at all. If you like this pack though, I actually have this on my Etsy shop as a digital download. It is 12 pages and I'll put the link below. Okay, so to start off my stamp, I'm going to get myself a square image. You can use absolutely any little images that you have, ones that you've cut out of magazines, books, printables, any size. This is one of those beautiful projects where it does not matter the size, because you're going to make it any size that you desire, and you're just going to make it whatever size the image is. So I'm going to cut out my little Shroomy here. I did indeed draw this little man. I do digital art, and I've got a whole little bunch of characters that I've created that eventually I will turn into digital download packs, but I'm in no rush to do so because it is a side hobby and not in any way like a main goal for me. So little Shroomy here, I'm going to get out my inks. Okay, so depending on the style that is your go-to, obviously you're going to decide whether you're going to ink them up, make them look vintage, make them in whatever style you can. I like nature meets grungy vintage, so I'm going for some paper for the back of my stamp here that looks tea stained or vintage. So I'm just rummaging through my stuff, and I think I actually end up going for book paper. I don't know, I just feel like Shroomy always looks really cute when put together with book paper images, book pages even. I like the colour of this one too. So today I'm using these cheap ass scissors. I got a set of 3 children's craft scissors on Amazon. I think the entire pack was $4.99 and free postage. You get much better ones than these, but as I make these so rarely, I needed something cheap and quick. I have kids and they had a whole bunch of these scissors for a long time, but you know, when it came to me going to use them, I realised the ones that I actually wanted weren't there. So I had to buy some. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to ink up little Shroomy before I stick them to the paper. It's just easier to ink your things before you glue them together. I'm going to my go-to. I shouldn't even have to tell you at this stage what ink this is, because it's the same one I use every time I'm going to grunge something up. It's Vintage Photo. And yes, that is a new cutting mat. I didn't buy it though. I realised that I had it in the cupboard and wasn't aware I had a better cutting mat. But yeah, this will change soon too, because actually I'm buying a bigger cutting mat to cover this shiny desk so that the lights don't come back up at your face and you see my reflection in every video. So I'm just going around the edges of my little image here for little Shroomy. I just love Shroomy. I love anything Toadstool, if you can't tell by recent videos, so he is my absolute favourite. I'm going to be using my postage stamps. I have linked these before in previous videos, but if you go down to the description box, there is an Amazon link that will take you to a storefront with all my items that I use in my videos. The stamp kits with these exact stamps will be in all of those items. I think there's maybe 30 or 40 items in that storefront, all from my videos. So if you want them, go look down there. I'm using the Stays On ink in Ganache, which is a sort of a darkish brown. It's not as dark as Walnut Stain, I think it is. I think it's a bit lighter. And I'm just going to stamp on some images. Now I just realised when I did that I managed to get residue of a stamp in the middle of Shroomy, and I wasn't sure how because it wasn't even on the same side of the stamp, but it kind of looks cool and I'm digging it. So you know, it's not a mistake, it's a happy accident. I'm also going to use these little number stamps that I got recently. I got these in a pack of 2 from Amazon, so I'm just pulling off the 3 and the 2 to make the number 32, and I'm going to stamp that on as the price of my stamp. These are also in the Amazon link. They're just really tiny little numbers. I have so many random numbers, but I decided I wanted ones that I could use in any way I saw fit for things like this, to make little stamp prices in the corner. And I'm finally putting on my little postage wavy lines to make it look like this stamp has been used. So those are pretty much all the stamping that I'm going to do to this little image. And next we are going to stick it on to our book paper. This is the most simple thing ever. Don't worry, I'm going to show you one after this, not using any images at all, just using stamps to show you that you don't need an image to start with. You can start with a blank piece of card or paper. Like, they're totally easy to make. I'm going to stick it to my book page, just so that I can see nice and lined up the writing. I can position it the way I think will look cute. Not that it really matters by the time I'm done with this, because you don't actually see much of this book page. Okay, and obviously what am I going to do? I'm going to cut around this, and I'm going to use my craft scissors. I think it's easier to cut yourself a little border of the size that you want the stamp roughly to end up before coming in with the scissors. It just helps you cut them a little straighter too. So I gave myself just a little border that was a little bit bigger than I want it to end up. And I will pre-warn you though, these scissors are not the easiest things to use. I do kind of make a little bit of a mess to begin with when I start cutting with them. They take a little bit of practice to get the hang of. I've realised that you don't want to open them all the way, because there's a little catch at the bottom. When you open them too wide, they stick open. And it's easier actually if you only open them a little bit and then line up the zigzags as you're cutting, and cut just a little bit at a time. As you can see, I started having real bother with these. I thought it was me, but then I realised there's like a stopper if you open them too wide. So you just want to cut a little tiny bit at a time. I'm sure there are better scissors out there, or better punches, but I went for cheapness because my kids already had these kind of craft scissors. And I don't remember them being this awful. So I kind of make a mess here, but that is mostly user error, because I realised there is a technique to these little scissors and I just don't have that technique. I also found when I switched to another pair of the wavy blades for these scissors, the other ones are actually much easier to use. So maybe I just got a janky pair that does not want to cut very well. But I did start getting better at it. I realised that the best thing to do is just cut a little tiny bit at a time, line up the zigzags, and then cut the rest, rather than trying to get like a whole entire edge in one go. See, I do much better once I like getting the rhythm of that. Just a little bit at a time. I don't know whoever invented these scissors, but they are definitely not the easiest thing to use. If you have a punch with a wavy edge, use that, because I guarantee it's probably a lot easier than using these. Okay, so that's the shroomy one almost done. I'm just going to ink the edges, and he looks kind of cute. But you're going to be watching me attempt to take these scissors apart in a minute to change the blade. I was going to edit it out, but I thought, you know what, I'll show you the difficulties of trying to change these scissors, because it was funny. Okay, so there's my shroomy stamp. And now we're going to go and we're going to make a stamp without an image. So I'm going to get my book paper back, and I'm going to roughly give myself a piece of paper that I'm aiming for to be roughly the size of my stamp. We're going for large stamps today. You can make these as tiny as you want. I just figured making them bigger would be easier for you guys to see on the video. Shroomi's looking kind of cute though. You have to admit, even with his messed up edges, that is a cute stamp. That will be getting stuck in something that I use. Okay, here we go. This was me trying to figure out how these darn things come apart, because the packet doesn't actually tell you. So I was like, okay, I can figure this out. Do you press this? Do you pull that? I'm a little bit slow when it comes to figuring stuff out. Bear with me. I do finally get there in the end. And then I realised, wait, those little things look like they possibly need to be pulled forward to undo the handles. You see those little U-shaped things that I keep pressing? You have to pull them forward. So you need to put something in behind it, which I finally figured out. And I don't know why I used a ruler. I have a whole table of tools and I used a ruler. You pull them forward, and there we go, they come off. I made that look so much harder than it actually was. I think if you just straight off start with something small that can get behind there, they come off real easy. I realised this once I changed to something that actually fits in there, that they came off dead simply. See? All that hassle for nothing. But I thought I would show you, because if you do get these scissors, you'll realize it is not just you, or maybe it's only me. Maybe you guys won't have the same problems with the scissors. Then I could not figure out which way the handles were supposed to go. So yeah, I worked that out finally. Okay, so this is the wavier ones rather than the pointier ones, and these worked a heck of a lot better for cutting paper, as you'll see here. They didn't stick as much, they didn't tear the edges. I'm thinking maybe my zigzaggy ones might be a little bit janky, because these were so easy to use compared to the other ones. I think these will be the ones that I keep on these scissors for making stamps, because they do kind of look more stamp-like anyway, because they're more curvy edged than the first ones. So there we have our piece of paper that took way too long to make for what it is. And we're going to ink it up a little bit before we put our image in the middle. Now I had my idea in my head that I wanted to make like a kind of mahoosive stamp, because you know we never get really huge ones that are real stamps, so I wanted to make one. I got a piece of scrap card that was already vintage looking. I'm just kind of working out the size for the middle of my stamp where I'm going to stamp my image. Now after I was making these, I was thinking how cute it would be to make a whole bunch of little cards that were like a set of nature theme with stamps, maybe some bees or wasps and flowers. Just make a little array of them and then turn them all into stamps like a little set. I've got so many cute stamps. I've got snails and wasps and insects, and I think they would all be really cute. Okay, so I was figuring out which stamp and I found the perfect stamp. This stamp set is also in my Amazon storefront. I think this looks like it could be the perfect Royal Mail stamp. For those of you that don't live in the UK, the Royal Mail is our postage carrier, and most of our stamps have the Queen's head or some kind of royalty on them as standard. So this was giving me those kind of vibes. Okay, so I'm getting my ink out. I'm using the StazOn once again because I prefer browns to blacks, but because I'm using this colour I will be switching to black to put on the postage stamps after. Postage stamp. So I've given up. Every time I start saying stamp in a video I end up tongue twisting and saying that word way too much. Okay, so I've printed my image of my lady's head. That actually turned out way better than I thought for a first time stamping it. I was kind of impressed. I kind of like that little bits didn't fill in completely because it just gives it a more olden vintage look. So I'm going to trim it down. It's not normally my style to use things like this stamp with this woman's head on it, so I'm glad I found a perfect use for it for my stash, because printing this in any colour now is always going to be a postage stamp for me. So in saying that, I realised that I've made my little bit of paper way too big, so I'm going to glue it on in place and just trim it down. We're waiting on the glue that always takes an age to come down to the nozzle. We're going to glue that in place. Tell me, what is your preferred glue? What glue do you use to glue your things together? Are you a Fabri-Tac person, a PVA person, or are you a double-sided tape person? I'm just going to trim it down with these scissors that are once again still easier than using the other ones. And then we're just going to repeat the process of stamping and inking just like we did with Shroomy to add the final details to these little stamps. I know this was such a simple and easy project, but sometimes you need a simple and easy project to give you an idea or to give you inspiration. You maybe had never thought this was how easy it was to make a fake stamp. There's me getting the blank ink out. So sometimes it is worth putting videos like these up, even these seem ridiculously simple, because I guess a beginner might not know how to do this. So I hope this is helpful to someone and that it isn't just a lame 5-minute video. Okay, so I'm putting on my 2 stamps that are my go-to postage stamps, just like I did with Shroomy, in black ink so it shows up on the brown, and I'm putting that same little price in the corner. That's all you really need for a postage stamp, to be honest. And there we go. that was it. That was all the steps to making fake large stamps. As you can see, whether you use an image or whether you use a stamp, they turn out absolutely super cute. I'm pretty happy with these. So yeah, I hope you guys have a go at making them, and if you do, don't forget to show me on social media. Now, if you want the Shroomy pack, don't forget he is on my Etsy. He is a 12-page pack in really good high quality. He's actually in the size A4. If you need an American letter size, let me know, because I will also put that listing size up there. It's just a slightly different size. And yeah, thanks for watching. I guess I will catch you in the next tutorial. Let me know below if there's anything you want to see me make. Bye.